I just interviewed Jack Bly. Jack is a client acquisition expert who helps coaches grow to over $100,000 a month by building simple and effective systems. We dove into why Jack made $0 in his first 16 months of his first coaching business and how he eventually got that up to $107,000 a month, the 5-step framework that you can start using today to get more clients, and how creators can build offers that actually sell. I'm Dylan. I interview professional creators so that you can learn from their stories, mistakes, and strategies and become a full-time content creator yourself. And if you sell a service and you've ever struggled to get people to buy your offer, book calls, or take action from your content, then you will get a ton out of this episode. Jack is the man. And so, without further ado, I hope you enjoy my conversation with Jack Bly. Mr. Jack, you had an online fitness coaching business that made $0 for the first 16 months or so. I would love to know why that didn't make any money and how you got it to start making money.
Yeah, great question. So yeah, it was 16 months. That's a real time frame. I went back, make sure that was correct. So 16 months literally profit $0. The reason it was not working was not due to lack of work ethic. All right. I was actually, myself and my business partner, we were working very hard. All right. So we were getting up early. We would go to this little college community, study room. And we would literally stay there sun up to sundown. I don't even remember what we were working on. We were working on random stuff in the business. But we weren't working on things that actually move the needle and get clients and make money and all this stuff. So that was probably the biggest reason looking back, because I was just working on the wrong things that didn't actually contribute to business growth. Because in business, there are literally millions of things you can work on. But I've learned now, one of the most important skills is deciphering, hey, what is the most efficient, the highest ROI things you can work on that actually move the needle. That's the difference between being stuck at 0 and 100K a month is what you work on. So that's probably one of the biggest things looking back. But I don't know if I answered your second question. I don't know if I remember.
Well, yeah, no, this is great. I mean, what were the wrong things? You were working your ass off on the quote wrong things. What did you think was important that wasn't at all?
Yes, I remember, for example, when we, so one of the biggest things, a lot of people still do this today, which I don't fully agree with. Now I've learned a lot from it. We were hyper obsessed with building this amazing website. And we thought, hey, if we just have this amazing website, people will magically find us and sign up. So I remember literally spending probably a month or two building this website out. And it was launch day, right? We're going to make the site live. And we're all right, it's happening. Whoa, we're about to launch this thing. So we go live, wake up the next morning and I'm no leads, no clients. That's weird. What's going on here? I'm maybe it takes a little bit longer. Wait a few more days. It's still nothing. And so I didn't realize oh, you need to push traffic to a conversion mechanism. I can't just have a website and expect people to show up magically.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things. All right. If you just build a website, it's not going to magically get you clients. Other things, we actually created a good amount of content. But we didn't do we basically create content and it was actually pretty solid content. I don't know if it's still on the internet. You might be able to find it. I don't know. But we never make offers really. No one would know we had a fitness coaching program. We would just create content. People some people, we didn't get that many views, but people would see it and they'd like it. But no one would know we even have an offer. And so that was another big mistake looking down. We just weren't making offers. We weren't showing people, hey, we have this thing we're trying to sell. It'll help you out. We never did that. So those are some of the things looking back. I'm wow, that's painfully obvious now.
So creating content, but not having any call to action, not presenting yourself as the guide for an audience member or a viewer or reader. And I interviewed Michelle Varghese and she has a great quote that I come back to and I have to remind myself, which is, it's very hard for people to give you money if they have no idea what or how they can buy from you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And so where were you making content? Were you making videos? Were you writing blogs? What were you posting?
Yes, we were mainly on Instagram at the time. And so we were creating a lot of short form videos. A lot of these are really funny. I remember my business partner, we looked at them I think it was a year or two ago. We were cracking up. because a lot of them are like very cringe, but some of them are actually like pretty funny. Like we had some skits sometimes and stuff. Like it was decent stuff.
Hmm. And then what shifted? When did you go from working on the wrong stuff, like building a website, right? If we build it, they will come, and then you built it and nobody came. And what was the shift, and when did you start actually doing the things that were going to move the needle?
Yeah. So basically, like we got to the point, this was probably, I don't know, 14, 15 months in, making $0 profit. We signed like a handful of clients for like $69 a month, but we weren't profitable. So, at that point in the business, I was very stubborn and like, I wanted to make this work so bad. I remember like comment from my uncle, which like stings to today. He was like, "Oh, that's not a business, it's a hobby." And like, this was kind of like a wake up moment because I was like, "Oh, like he's right. Like I'm not making any money, but like screw you. I'll show you." And so I'm looking for solutions. I'm like scavenging. I get onto like Twitter at the time, and I like find someone who's like basically offering to help businesses get clients. I'm like, oh, that's what I need, like clients. I'm like, who is this guy? This like random internet guy. I look into him and stuff. End up hiring him. Great guy. This is Sean. I don't know if you know Western Mastery on Twitter. That's what he goes by. But end up hiring him. Super skeptical, super scared. It's like the last dollars in my bank account. I'm like, hey, like please, like tell me what to do. No clue what I'm doing. And he just like shows us like pretty simple things, but they're just effective towards making money in a business, like making offers, starting to send some outreach messages to followers, like simple things that we were just like not doing. And so we started doing these lead gen activities, and what do you know? We started getting leads and we started signing clients. So that was one of the big shifts, but also the other big shift is we started to increase our prices. So I remember charging $69 a month. It's where we started out at. And we raised it to like 1K, or it was $997 exactly. That was like the first like what we thought was high ticket at the time. And I remember like closing that first deal, and I was like, holy crap, like we made it. Like this is possible. Like this is crazy. But those are like the two big shifts. It's like, you know, lead gen activities, like actually things that contribute to generating leads, and then going more high ticket.
Yeah, raising your price and then lead gen activities, putting an actual offer together, making it clear, articulating it to people, and then going and like telling people about it, attempting to get people interested in this offer, and then obviously trying to exchange their money for it. And so we can put all this in the bucket of client acquisition. That's like, as I hear it, it was just like you were not acquiring clients, which is like, this is the necessary juice. If you don't have clients, you don't have a coaching business. If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. If no one's paying for the service or the product, like what's there's nothing to be done. And so maybe breaking down that guy's course or program that he taught you, it sounds like what you got out of that was like client acquisition 101. And so I would be curious how, I mean, you do teach this obviously, which we'll get into, but if we could break down client acquisition 101 into its simplest parts. So I'm thinking like a marketing funnel, an offer, a sales funnel. Like, how would you take us through all of this? If I have a coaching business, like from start to finish, how do I take someone from stranger to they have paid hundreds or thousands of dollars for my offer?
Yeah, so this is a good one. So after like a ton of analysis of like thinking, how do I make this as simple as possible? Like this is the bare bones of how to acquire a client. There's 5 steps. And this applies to any funnel. If you're doing outreach, if you're doing content, if you're doing paid ads, anything in the world, like this is what it is. So there's 5 steps. First step is attention. So it's getting the attention of the person in the first place. So this is like what we were doing before. We were getting like some attention. That was it. We did step 1. That was it. We didn't cross the dollar of the next 4 steps. But that step 1 is attention. Step 2 is interest. So that'd be actually like, hey, making known of, hey, I had this offer. Are you interested in more details? So this would be, for example, if you send an outreach message and they reply back, that's interest. Boom, we got to step 2. Step 3 is call booked. So this is booking like a sales call or discovery call. This is, so far what I've found to still be the easiest, most efficient way to get to at least, 30, 50K a month is through sales calls. There's other ways you can do it, but it's what I found works best. That's number 3. Number 4 is calls showed. So I know people can get very frustrated when they book call, the person no shows. That's obviously necessary. So we need them to show up. That's step 4. And then step 5 is client side. So that's obviously like once they are on the call, they're there, going through the sales process and getting them to actually want to hand you their credit card and get started. So those are the core 5 steps. This applies to really any funnel that you build out.
Cool. So attention, make your hey, hi, you. It's throw a rock at their window, something that takes them from whatever it is that they were doing or were focusing on to oh, I'm now aware that this thing exists. And then interest, do they think that this thing that exists could be of use to them or is of value to them? And then call booked, have they taken the pretty hefty action of all right, I'm down to schedule a time to have a conversation with you about this thing. Call showed, they actually show up to the thing, and then client signed. There is an exchange for money in this service or this product.
Yep, that's it.
All right, what do I win? I feel like I've graduated.
You win a client. Execute.
Awesome. And so let's talk about cold outreach, which I think most people listening to this will have probably been on the other end at the very least, being pitched. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Twitter, especially if you're in some sort of businessy space, you've probably been pitched something. You've probably had people reach out to you to try to get your attention and eventually your interest, take you down the funnel. How can people do cold outreach without being annoying or sleazy or salesy, whatever uncomfortable word people feel at the thought of going out and almost like doing door to door, but digitally?
Yeah. So I'll answer this. I won't get tactical, but I'll start out with the meta important beliefs that you need to have to even be successful in the first place. So even when I hear someone say oh, I don't want to be sleazy or sales or anything like that, a lot of times what's going to stop you from making money, this is going to really restrict you from growing your business ever, is you have these internal kind of imposter syndrome beliefs. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be sleazy. I don't want to push super hard on people. A lot of this is because of number one, you don't really believe in your program or service in the first place. That's important. If you don't have that, you're not going to want to sell in the first place. You're not going to want to take any lead gen activities because you don't even believe in that. But if you are someone who's listening to this and you're no, I'm really good at what I do. I know I can give people results. I've seen people transform their lives because of my thing. Then really realize the gravity of that. Oh, I really do serve people. And so if that is true, then as a natural byproduct is actually serving people to get my offer in as front as many people as possible. Because I am serving people. I'm doing a good thing on the earth. So that's the meta belief that you need to have. It's sales is not a bad thing. It's serving people if you do have a good product or service. So that's number one. That's the meta belief that you need to have. All right. That's the first thing. If you don't overcome that, you're screwed no matter what. If you do overcome that, let's get tactical. All right. So what we've seen work best in terms of cold outreach is kind of 2 main principles that you can apply to a ton of different outreach methods. So first one is going to be custom. All right. So usually if you do anything custom, cold outreach tends to increase conversion rates. All right. But you still have to have the actual thing be good. But this would be basically obviously calling out the person's name. Don't do a typo or a fake name or someone else's name. I've seen that before. I was you're not going to make the sale if you do that.
Dear prospect's name, I have a wonderful opportunity for you.
Yeah. So customizing that and then customize a real customization based on what's actually on their profile or their content or anything that you actually noticed. So example of this that is actually working today as of, May 14th, 2025. Some of the coaches that we work with do this. Is they'll find basically these freebie posts from other creators in their niche. So be people giving out some sort of free resource to help them solve a problem. And they'll go to this other creator's post, look at the comments. All these comments are requesting some sort of help with this problem. All right, so those are very qualified leads that you can find. And so you would go to those profiles, reach out to them, and be saying, hey, saw you commented XYZ post, had to look for help with this. I actually have a few ideas that might be able to help out. Open a chat. Something like that has been working well. Or so it's a custom approach. Hey, based on an action I've seen you take, you have this problem. And then we just have a ton of curiosity there. So that's like the first principle. Just give you an example of that is the custom approach. That's the first big one. Second big one is going to be an actual, like, really good offer. All right. So a direct, here's a really good offer. All right. Do you want it or not? This works more. I will say this works more towards like B2B type of offers. All right. So if it's more of helping someone increase their revenue, getting leads, sales, whatever, something that's more B2B, this works better for that. If you have more of a B2C thing, whether it's fitness, relationships, or something else, a free offer can work better to get people in the door, offering some sort of free help. This could be an audit, this could be a game plan, free coaching, something else. Those are general principles of what we've seen work well as of today. And that's how you do it. Also in a way of just being transparent, not being sleazy, not being salesy, but just being straight up. Hey, saw the same thing. I can help. Here's the offer. So those are a few things that we've seen working today.
Yeah, that's great. So starting with that belief of like, I am afraid to be salesy. I've seen that a ton. I mean, coaching is my background. Like I started my career as a one-on-one life coach and then stepped into sort of mentoring others who wanted to start their own one-on-one life coaching businesses. And it was like, in this world, I think especially online, we can see a lot of people pursuing coaching. It's almost like the imagined archetype is like 20-something-year-old dudes like trying to scale, make 10K months, which is great. Like that's awesome. And I'm one of those dudes. But in general, the personal development space and even the life coaching space, it's actually dominated by like 40, 50-year-old females, like women. And so I met all of these moms or like adults who were in the corporate world for several years and like have kids, or maybe they're not the breadwinner of their household and they just wanted to like help people. They love the idea of coaching, and they were floored at the realization of like, you have to run a business here. Like you need client acquisition. And the number one fear is just like, Deborah, who's 50 years old. It's like, I have to send cold outbound, like cold DMs to people. I have to try to get people interested in this. They were just like this unpreparedness to be an entrepreneur, like to really like go do the thing. Almost like the same belief of like, if I just build it, if I have a website or if I just like make a Facebook post, then like, my email will be full and I'll just have a bunch of people interested and calls booked on my calendar. And so anyway, yes, this belief of like, I don't want to be a sleazeball is itself, just incredibly debilitating. And I've experienced myself having built a life coaching business and then now Grindstone, which you've helped me with and we can get into. The lower my skills and the less experience I have, the more sleazy I feel.
Mm.
And it's interesting because I feel like you mentioned that has to do with conviction. Like, how convicted are you in the thing that you're providing? And I've always just felt like the earlier on you are, like, just make it significantly easier for people to say yes to a thing. And like, I for one, it sounds like you did as well, like charge lower prices, right? Like if you're just starting out, it's like maybe your thing is not worth $10,000 right out the gate. Maybe you have no idea what you're doing. And so, yeah, I don't know if there's like a formula to that, like, but like harmonizing what you're offering and how much you're charging for it based on like what you genuinely believe you're capable of. Because I imagine both of those will just increase with each other at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's like definitely people just starting out. Like, there's like two sides of the out. There's the people who like irrationally believe, hey, like I'll charge 15K. I'm just starting out, and it's like that's irrational in itself because you have no experience, you have no proof, no case studies, like none of this stuff. And there's the people who are like super scared to sell anything at all. For both of those people, it can definitely make sense to start out, get a few free clients, get a few really low price clients who maybe you just offer a guarantee for, where it's risk free for them. You can do things like that to start to build that personal conviction. Because like one of your strongest things is your personal conviction because that bleeds through in everything. Or it bleeds through and are you even gonna like wake up and like do the actions required to get clients? Because if that imposter syndrome, that belief's like really plaguing you, you're not even gonna do the work in the first place. So it is really crucial you start to build up that conviction because that bleeds through into everything. So that I think that definitely makes sense to start lower if you're from, bare bones, start from ground zero.
Yeah. Yeah, great. And I've heard a lot of coaches or even personal trainers, like people selling a service, usually, especially like a one-on-one service or like something that could be sold as a per session thing, feeling like, well, why would I give this away for free? I don't want to leave money on the table, or like, I don't want to get taken advantage of, etc.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who feels that way?
I mean, it's a game of business. Like first off, the expectations are just wrong. Like it's probably someone expecting to, make 30K a month in 30 days, like starting from zero, just doesn't make any sense. It's unrealistic. Like business is like the long-term gratification. And like that's what business is like constantly. It's constantly putting in work where you're just like in constant pain right now for a hope of a better future tomorrow.
Mm.
Like that's what it always is. And so if you're not even willing to just front some work to, show someone else, hey, I'm trustworthy, I can help you get results. If you're not even willing to do that, like you're not going to make it in the business. Because that's like literally what you do every single day is trying to work on something for a better tomorrow, constantly pushing things off for the future of that long-term gratification.
Yeah. So like an investment, like you're investing time, energy, resources right now so that you can be rewarded with experience and therefore confidence, like fluidity. Like I know what this is. I know how to do this. Referrals, testimonials, feedback. Like it's, it's a beautiful thing. At least I've seen being willing to give away your thing for free or like help 50 people in a pretty incredible way over the next year. Like, I don't know I have no idea what will happen at the end of that year, but I know that very good things will likely happen.
Yeah. The other thought on this is like, this is kind of funny, but I thought of this, like, if you really think like your thing is worth $10,000, like you would be getting that already.
Mm.
Like what you think you're worth and what you're actually worth is two different things. Like whatever the reality is what you're actually worth today. So it's like, you got to accept reality. like you can't just be delusional and say like, no, not worth my time. My time is worth $1,000 an hour. So if they don't pay me that, I'm not going to do it.
Mm.
All right. Look at your reality. Look at how much you're actually making per hour. That's what you're worth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Alex Ramosi says that he doesn't believe in the words worthy or deserve. Like, you get what you deserve. Like, if you are worthy of XYZ, like that means that you are getting XYZ. Like,
Yeah.
by definition, if you are not being rewarded in this way, you are not worthy of it yet, or you are not good enough yet to get that thing.
Yeah. 100%. And there can obviously like be a delay effect. So it could be the situation where you actually are doing the right actions, but there's that buffer. There's that, hey, you're putting in the work now, but it doesn't realize for 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks or even months. That is a factor as well. So you got to be aware of that. But generally speaking, like your reality today is going to be the product of your actions of the past 3 years. So that's reality. If you want different results, you got to take different actions.
What was your offer once you were increasing the price and starting to actually acquire clients with this fitness coaching business? I mean, what was the offer and how did you make it more valuable over time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I can't disclose like everything, but I'll tell you what I can. So we got up to charging basically $4,000 for a 3-month program. That was like price point, time frame. Basically, we had at that point, like we started to get just tons and tons of results. And so now we have like literally hundreds of transformation photos, like all these verifiable people, like crazy stuff. And so that's a big factor as well. Like when you have so much proof, it's just relentless and it's like that endless scroll. If you have like a landing page like that, it's just like, it takes away the risk. That's what that proof does. It just makes the thing less risky and more certain overall. And so that's one way that we can increase price. So we have that. We also have a guarantee in place. Basically, hey, as long as you do X actions and you don't see the results, we'll give you a refund. That's just fair business. So there's all those different ways you can increase confidence and increase certainty in the prospect of, oh yeah, this actually does make sense. This makes me more certain that I can get this dream outcome working with you. So those are like some of the aspects of our offer that we have.
Cool. Yeah, I'm thinking of the value equation here. And so you're talking about dream outcome, like getting fit, getting in great shape, going from how they look to significantly better shape, better health. Perceived likelihood of achievement, like, wow, they've helped all of these, like I could visibly see all of these transformations that have happened. Like if it can happen for this many people, it can likely happen for me. Over effort and sacrifice, which I guess I'd be curious to ask about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing, you can look back at my Twitter, this was from years ago, but I used to do like a lot of posts and stuff of me eating like cookies or these fun foods and stuff. And that's like one of the subtle ways where, I don't even have to say it. It could just be me documenting like something I'm eating for lunch or dessert or something. And you get people to come to their own conclusions. Prospects seeing that content, they'll come to the conclusion of, oh, this guy's fit. He's eating these fun foods. Maybe I don't have to be a robot using this guy's methodology. And so it can just be documenting things like that. That's very subtle. You don't have to be explicit with it, but that's something that you can do to decrease effort and sacrifice. Could also be me documenting a workout. Hey, 30-minute workout did X, Y, and Z. Another thing, you don't have to work out for 5 hours. You can do a 30-minute workout and have effective results. So that's like the documentation of that stuff, I think, is like one of the most effective ways you can do that decreased effort and sacrifice.
Cool. Okay. So making it known either explicitly or implicitly, you won't have to work for as long or as hard as you are probably afraid of.
Yeah. And that's like, so like the big thing there that worked so well, as far as like I've seen, is proof speaks way louder than claims. So I could just like make claims of, hey, you can eat fun foods, you can only work out this many times or this many hours per week, get results. I could say that, and they might still believe it because we have proof and stuff. But what's just way more effective is like, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's proof. Here's just documentation, and then people come to their own conclusion. There's this one quote from one of my mentors that I love. I still remember this to this day. Of people resist what they're told, but they never doubt what they themselves conclude. All right. So if I'm telling you something, a lot of natural response is to resist if you don't trust me already.
I don't trust you, Jack.
Okay, there you go. Perfect example. And then if you just come to your own conclusion of like, oh yeah, based on what I'm seeing, I think this, you're not going to doubt yourself. So that's like one of the quotes I love thinking of anytime I'm like looking at creating an offer and like putting proof in front of people instead of like making claims.
Cool. Okay. And so that's effort and sacrifice. And then time delay is the last component of the value equation, which it sounds implicitly, it's a 3-month program before and after. I would see that and think like, oh, in 3 months, I will experience these results.
Yeah, there's a few things we do for time delay. It's interesting. So there's obviously like, there's the end goal. For like weight loss and really a lot of transformations, it does take like a good amount of time, like to achieve anything substantial, like growing a business. Like that doesn't happen in 24 hours. Like you can't make promises like that. It's not reality. So there's obviously like the long-term thing. Hey, this will take 3 months. It will take 6 months, whatever it is. There's also short-term stuff. So for example, like with a fitness thing, literally just someone working out for the first time in a while, they'll start to feel better, or them just hitting a new low weight and them losing half a pound. It's a small win that gets them feeling good. Another sneaky thing that we did that people loved is when people would sign up, we would instantly send them this welcome video that's just like filled with a bunch of like client case studies and wins. Like people are just like clients just selfie mode talking about their win. It's like this hype video. And so it kind of just like resells them. It's a massive dopamine hit of like what's to come, like what they're joining, and they love that. So it's like kind of like a quick win, like kind of like some time delay, because it's literally just a dopamine hit to their brain of like, cool, like I'm gonna win, like this is cool stuff. And so we did that instantly, like once they pay. And so that's like a sneaky thing you do time delay wise to, again, just like help people feel good and have that client satisfaction get up as soon as possible.
Cool. Okay. So then time delay doesn't have to be how long does it take to get maybe this specific result I have in my head, but just like how quickly am I reinforced for not just this buying decision, but like how quickly am I experiencing wins? Like, am I feeling like I'm making progress in whatever this pursuit is?
Absolutely.
Cool. And so a lot of creators within Grindstone, particularly gamers, put together their own coaching programs. And I'm curious, let's assume they're listening to this conversation. If they had to make sure that they never got any clients ever, what would you tell them to do and not do?
In terms of the offer or in terms of like just overall?
Yeah, both. Like anything, like what are the 3 things that they have to do and the 3 things that they can never do to make sure that they never get any clients in their coaching program?
Okay, well, I mean, first thing is just like never make an offer ever. If you do that, you're guaranteed to make no money. So that's what we did for a while, basically. So if you never make an offer, never make it unknown, never post it, never DM someone about it, never do an ad about it, you're going to make $0 forever. Unless like magically someone reaches out to you and they're like, hey, please, I want to pay you money, which is very rare. So that's the first thing. All right. Never making an offer. That's probably arguably the most important thing because just by doing that, you get feedback. All right. So you can be really bad. I was really bad for a long, long time. But just by starting to put my offer in front of people, you get some actual real feedback from the world, from the market of like, oh, this works. Oh, this doesn't work. This works. This doesn't work. And you start this scientific method of getting better just by taking the action in the first place, which is one of the cool things. So that's probably the most important thing. Well, this is also really important, but having an offer around a real thing, a real problem that people actually like want to invest in solving. So if you like one of the things is like, people create offers around just what they're passionate about. That's fine if there's a real problem that you're solving that exists in the market. People are willing to pay for it. If not, though, if it's just a random like weird thing that you like, but no one else has like a problem with it, you're not going to make any money. Which is just the reality. It's just what business is. The only reason a business exists is to serve the market. So if your business does not serve the market, it's going to cease to exist. All right. So that's probably number 2 is make sure that you're actually solving a real problem that exists in the market. I'm trying to think of the third one. I mean, those are the main 2. Like I would just go with that if I had to answer the top things.
Never make an offer. Tell nobody about your stuff, and create a solution to problems that don't exist or that like people don't really care to pay money to solve is how I heard it.
Yeah, basically. So if you created, I don't know, trying to think of the weirdest thing ever. If you created like,
I got one.
I don't know. What do you got?
How to make sure your newspaper always arrives on time.
Okay, there you go. That would not work. That would be an awful offer. There you go. That's pretty good.
I don't know. Challenge accepted, Jack. I feel like we could, I think we should build this. I think,
We could.
people really these days are hungry for their newspaper. And the biggest pain point is that the newspaper doesn't show up on time. They got some 11-year-old kid riding their bike and they throw it and it goes into the other yard, not yours. And I don't know. I feel like we should solve this problem.
I think that checks all the boxes. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So on that, we've kind of covered the like, make your stuff known, right? The beliefs around like, you have this thing, you're trying to serve people, you're trying to make other people's lives better with this thing in exchange for money, of course. But the second piece was solving real problems, like something that exists, a demand in the market. And some ideas or sort of like chunks there came to mind, which is the avatar, who you're actually trying to serve, and then their unique problems that give them pain that they would love to alleviate and they'd be willing to pay money to alleviate. And so if we could double click on that for a second, how can someone find out a worthwhile avatar or a ideal customer or client to help? And how can they identify the real problems? Not just like, oh, I bet this could be helpful, but like, no, these are the real problems that this particular person is experiencing.
Yeah, so there's a few ways to do this. One of the easiest ones for people is just looking at, their past selves, what problems did I have faced in the past. So, like, what are your past problems? What were the most painful things you actually faced that you did figure out how to solve? That's one of the easiest places you can look at. Second place is going to be just like competitors that you know for a fact are making money right now. That's honestly like one of the easiest ones. Because you can look for like competitors are actually like a really good thing. It's a sign of life. If there are not competitors in your niche, it's really a big red flag. 'Cause it's kind of like there's a very high likelihood someone has already tried what you're doing and they failed.
Hmm.
That's why there's no competitors right now. That's why there's no one else. So that's like one of the reasons I love saturated markets and markets where there are a lot of competitors, because I know for a fact, oh, this will work. I just need to be better than everyone else. I need to be slightly better than most of people, and it can work. So those are probably my two go-to would be look at competitors, look at your past self. Those are the easiest ones.
Okay. And then where do I find these competitors? I'm interested in this space. How can I find proof that people are doing what I want to do?
Yeah. So, I mean, the easy way, if you're already like interested in a certain niche, like you're probably aware of like the top dogs in the niche, top creators, you probably already know them. So that'd be like the first place to look. If for some reason you don't know that many people in the niche that are making money from their business, what you can do, this is super tactical. Go to Google, type in Meta Ads Library. Not many people know this exists, but you can just type this in Google. And there's a library of all the ads that are actively or have been running on Meta in the past. And so what this allows you to do, you can search certain keywords, you can search certain competitors, and you can see their exact ads that they're running right now or they've been running in the past. And so what I like to look for there is, for example, there's a filter on there that you can set to this ad has been running for over a month. All right, if that's been happening for certain ads, you know for a fact, hey, this business must be making money on this. They must be. They've been running for over a month. All right, so there's a very high likelihood this is working for some reason. So you can really diagnose, okay, what's the messaging here? What's the hooks? What's the pain points we're talking about? Who's the avatar? And that's some of the best market research you can get is by doing that.
Cool. Yeah, over a month because ads ain't cheap.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And so on the topic of sort of helping others solve problems that you've had in the past and probably figured out how to solve yourself, you pivoted from fitness coaching to now helping coaches do everything that we're talking about, right? Like actually helping coaches and coaching companies with client acquisition. How did you decide to pivot into that type of business?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, we scaled the fitness business to over 100K a month. We hit multiple months there. Obviously, it was very successful. And for me, it got to the point where obviously like money was fine. I was making more money than I ever made in my month or in my life. And, for me, I'm also like not like a very, I don't know, luxurious or like splashy spender. So like I realized I only need like 8K a month and I could like live on that forever. I'm happy.
I'm just laughing because you say this as like we both have like completely blank, sparse backgrounds.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, so I'm at that point in life. And for the fitness thing, I actually like wasn't that passionate about it. Like it wasn't that interesting. Like it was never like a big problem for me personally. I've always been pretty fit. Like I played sports growing up. I was never out of shape. And so the passion was like never really there. I was just kind of doing it because I didn't want to be broke. I was like, let me start a business. I don't want to be broke. And so I'm like, all right, well, if I'm going to do this thing, like I'm already successful, like I might as well do something that I like really love doing. And so the business is a thing, like as I'm building that, like I really like fell in love with business and kind of obsessed with it. Like that's what I do in my free times. I'll watch like business podcasts and, do stuff like this. Like that's what I love doing. So I'm like, let me launch this thing. And so that's what I did. And so now I get to spend time doing something I love and, make money from it. So that was like the big reason for me.
Cool. And how have you approached it differently from the fitness coaching business?
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest benefits is just the experience of like not having to make the same mistakes over and over again. All right. So I didn't spend like 5 months on just a website and hope people show up. I didn't do that when I was starting out. So I started from day one, doing really good market research. And I the cool thing was like I'm solving exactly the problems that I faced. So I was the market. Like I knew exactly the problems that were the most painful. So that's going back to my past self. One of the best ways to find a really good niche. So that helped a lot. I also knew a lot of people in the space. I was very connected. I made a lot of connections with other people who were coaches as well. And so I had a lot of direct contacts for easy market research of exactly what they're looking for. What's the real problems? What's the most painful problems? And so that's how I got off to a quick start. And I just focused on the key things that matter most. Let me build a really good product. Let me get leads ASAP and let me start selling this thing so I get those feedback loops going.
Where did you first seek out leads?
So when I first, I mean, I had like, as I was even building the fitness business, like I had people that reached out to me that were just like asking for help. And so I actually did like a few, like probably like 2 or 3 on the side of like kind of like informal mentorships type of things. And so that was something and like, so when I like made the announcement, like on my Twitter, like I just had like a good batch of people like reach out from day one. So it was really easy for me. It's definitely a better situation than most people starting out. So it probably doesn't apply to most people listening to this, but that's what happened for me.
Cool. And I'm curious how content and branding comes into play here. Or I guess maybe the way I'm thinking about it is in the beginning, it's a lot of grunt work, like door to door, like a very active, just like, here's my thing, here's my thing. Hey, by the way, here's my thing, here's my thing. And I imagine that over time, you would like to step, would like to step less and less into that active space and have like a strong brand or, something that is known to be just great at solving this problem so that it's not passive, but, less I have to knock on 500 doors every single day to get anybody to
Mhm.
know my thing. And so anyway, I'm wondering how that how that lands with you when you hear that and what that has been like in you and your own business.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's a good question. So like when I started out like acquisition pilot, for example, I think I had just one virtual assistant from day one. It was just me and him. And so he was someone who would do some of the setting for me. So something like the DMs, the outreach and stuff. I would still do some myself, but I was doing everything else. I think that's also like one of the most important things you can do when starting out because you actually do want to learn how every aspect of the business works and figure it out. Because one of the things I've tried in the past for the fitness business that did not work out well is like hiring like done for you agencies like from like day one when you don't have anything figured out. Unless they also like help out with the offer and like everything else. Very hard to make work because someone just sends you leads, for example, and your sales process sucks, your offer sucks. It's not going to work, regardless of like how good the leads are. And so, really, like taking that time when you're at ground zero to figure out what type of offer converts, what's a good sales process, what's a good process to get people to show up to calls, how do I get consistent book calls. All right, so that's like the core fundamental like things of the business. It's those 5 steps, getting those things as actual systems that are predictable and consistent. Um, Once you have that, that's when start to bring on more teams. So like I have 2 closers now. I have 3 setters now. Probably gonna get help with fulfillment soon. And so we're starting to like take more and more things off my plate so I can focus on the things that I enjoy the most and also the highest leverage things in the business the most. But that's really the kind of the process to growing a business. Get things to KPI, get the systems working consistent first. Then you can scale and start to bring on team to help out.
And do you put referral programs together or affiliates? Like, what are what are your other mechanisms outside of sending cold outreach to people?
Yeah, so we do pretty much everything. So we still do outreach to this day, still works, makes us a lot of money, a lot of money. We do some content, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, like kind of everywhere. We honestly like, don't even go that hard on content nowadays because the other ones are working so well. So we have outbound and then the paid ads is the other one that we launched 6 months ago or so. And that's been doing really well for us. So ads, the thing about ads, it's really addicting because it's very low effort, like once it works, because you just like press buttons, like increase spend and stuff. So it's very addicting. And that's like kind of what's been happening for us is the ads have just been working. It's like booking calls for us. So I'll just film a few ads, press buttons, and then I'll like end up doing less content, which I probably should create more content.
Mhm.
We don't need to. So it's all about like identifying, hey, what's the highest leverage thing you can work on?
Yeah.
And so for us, it's that right now.
Yeah, and that reminds me of something that you shared earlier. So you talk about leverage, like
Yeah.
what is basically working on the right stuff, or
Yeah.
working on the stuff that is actually going to move the needle and get you significantly closer to where you want to go, as opposed to like you could work your ass off to a very low leverage activity, and like you're working very hard, right? You can put in 12-hour days working on the wrong stuff. The the extreme example I like for some reason is just like if you have a pile of rocks next to your apartment, like you could work very, very hard and just like carry those rocks one by one to the other side of the city. It's like that's hard work. That's, no one could question that you have worked very hard. It's not going to make you any money. Like it's not going to, it probably won't get anybody to respect you. People will probably ask a lot of questions. So like very low, very high effort, low leverage activity. And what comes to mind is just what is the bottleneck? Like what is the constraint? Like why can't I grow right now in my business and my content? Like I'm not growing the way I want. There is a problem, probably multiple, but like what is the number one highest leverage point or activity or problem to solve or fire to put out? And my question is, how can someone identify what that actually is? Is there like a checklist or an algorithm to sort of like questions to ask to be like, yeah, what is literally the most important fire that I need to put out now?
Mhm. Yeah, so I'll run you through like the most common ones, also how to identify it. First one, this can be honestly like the one for most people listening to this. Like, this is probably the biggest constraint for anyone like under 40, 50K a month. It's gonna be lead gen.
Hmm.
Like, you just need way more leads. You're booking 1 call, 5 calls, 10 calls a month, just not enough volume. So even if like your close rate's not that good, your offer is not that good, lead gen tends to still be the base thing at that point because you need the feedback loops. Like if you only book 5 calls a month, there's only so many call reviews and things you can work on the sales process. But what's going to move the needle just the most is getting way more leads, 10x in the lead gen. So that's the first one for most people listening. It's probably lead gen. So that's just the volume of actual sales calls you're booking. Beyond that, other things to look out for. Another one could be sales availability. Just like what we ran into, I don't know, a year ago or something is, our calendar's fully booked. What do we do now? We really can't handle like more volume of sales calls. And so you need to hire, additional closers, and you open up more availability. That could be a bottleneck right there. All right, another one could be fulfillment availability. You just can't fulfill on more clients right now. So something maybe you need a team, maybe you just need more systems there. That could be another one. Another one is profitability. So this is common if you start running ads and stuff. This will, like, if you see like your ads all of a sudden are not making you money, there's a problem there. All right, you have to fix the economics. There's a lot of different things you can do there. Those are the main ones. There's also a conversion issue. So this would be maybe close rate, maybe show rate, appointment booking rate, things like that. So those are where I listed out 5 or 6 of like the main bottlenecks that keep on repeating. But just like listing those out, you can make a list of those and look at your business. It's probably pretty easy to identify, hey, what's the reason I can't 2x the business right now? It's gonna be one of those.
Yeah, and that's a great question. Just like, what is the reason that I cannot 2x this business? Like, why can't we? Maybe you don't want to, but like, why can't we?
Yeah.
Right now. That's good. And in the content creator context, one of the first things that people come to Grindstone and ask about is like, hey, should I say this or this in the thumbnail? And I'm like, brother, we got to fix your videos, man. Like these are bad. Like we need to fix the hook. We need to make this more interesting. You need better ideas. It's like Mario Yos, who was Mr. Beast's old retention director.
Mm-hmm.
He has this quote where he's like, if your car is on fire, you don't pump up the tires. Like you put out the fire. And so anyway, that's what I think of when I think like, what is the constraint? Like what is the actual problem to solve here?
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, Mr. Beast is good. He's I I liked his TV show they came out with recently.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Watch all of it, like until the end.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
I didn't see it. I don't own a TV.
You don't own TV? Oh, well, I watched Mr. Beast. I'm a degenerate. My bad.
Cool. Within Acquisition Pilot, I could share this. I've been through the program. It was amazing. It like saved our business. The course that coincides with it is very good. It's arguably one of the most useful and like practical in terms of like education, but also just resources and tools to use on a consistent basis. Like it just is. I'm gassing you up heavily right now, but it's just like it was very high quality. It is very high quality, and I would love to know. Again, we have creators listening to this and creators in Grindstone who want to put their own course together or an info product, etc. And what are the must-haves if someone is going to make a really impactful course, either that coincides with a program or just a standalone course, and avoid being just like another fluff course that exists on the internet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, so let's take this scenario. Someone's just starting out, they're just launching, they're trying to build their course. What I don't recommend you do from day one, I actually wouldn't recommend you spend a lot of time to build the course when you're just getting started. Reason for that is you need direct client feedback. It's one of the most important things. Like you need to work with someone one-on-one to see like, hey, what are the real problems they run into, all the minute details. And so when you're just getting started, like build out what you think the client journey looks like. Hey, they're currently here. They want to get over here. What are the steps they need to take? Map that out first. You can build a very high level course, like the most important thing, you build that out first. But really spend a lot of one-on-one time with your first few clients. Like that's the goal, is you need to talk to clients. You need to figure out like what are the actual real problems they're facing. From there, it's a massive iterative process. Like to build out a really good course, like it just takes time. Like it's been a little bit over 2 years. I'm constantly still iterating it to this day. It takes time. Like that's the truth. Like you're not going to build a good thing in 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. Like it's going to take a very long time to build out a good product, a good course. So that's the truth. Like it takes time, talk to clients and just iterate it over and over again, make it better and better and better and better every single day. Well, not every day, but you get it. Like, work on it a lot.
So constant, this is great. How often have you made something or recorded something and it becomes almost obsolete, either not relevant anymore, or I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but like you disagree almost, or you're just like, you're like, actually, no, this is wrong. Like I would actually,
what's this guy talking about? You idiot. Yeah. That's a good question. So we have like in our like course, for example, we have the foundations, which is like very principle based. So really 99% of that stuff is like time old. Like it will always apply because it's based on like, human psychology, scientific methods, systems, like all this stuff that's like not going to change ever. And so that stuff, I only touch it like when there's something to add or maybe something's missing, but nothing's wrong there really because it's all fundamentals. The other stuff that's more tactical, for example, like maybe exact examples of ad scripts or DM scripts that we've seen working. That is the stuff that I do have to stay on top of an update because the market changes sometimes. Like a lot of stuff, it should work for like at least a few years, but sometimes the market shifts. Sometimes too many people start using a certain method, it stops working. So if it's more tactical, like more like, like do this exactly, that's the stuff that I tend to need to change more. Principles based, that stuff is, forever.
What has been painful about building your businesses? Like when I say the word pain and you think back to you building your business, whether it was years ago or yesterday, what comes to mind?
Oh man, a lot of pain, but recently, like the big thing I'm working on, trying to get better on is trying to be a better leader, better at hiring, team management. That's definitely the biggest, like most painful thing right now. Things that I need to improve on right now. Because you go through, you hire the wrong people, you have to end up firing people, which is obviously not comfortable. It's not a fun thing. You obviously lose money from doing that. So that's the hardest thing right now. But everything's been painful at some point in time.
Mhm. First of all, I appreciate the dog joining the podcast. So,
Oh man, well,
welcome site.
I just apologize.
No,
She's crazy.
no. It's great. Dogs are welcome. I'm a big dog fan. In terms of leadership, hiring, firing, are you open to sharing? Obviously, not names or any specific people if you don't want, but like, what have you hired the wrong person for? And yeah, could you just maybe paint that picture a little bit?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll tell you, like in like 2024, I think I hired 3 different closers that just didn't work out for one reason or another. Um, Found a good one at the end of 2024. He's been with me, for like 6 months now, which has been amazing. So closer is like one of the positions that's been tough to crack.
What is tough to crack about it?
So I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of it's going to be on what I've learned. It's the initial hiring. So like when you hire any new position, like even if you're good at the thing, like, so I had the sales process dialed in myself, and it was working, but I still didn't know exactly what to look for in a good closer. Like I kind of knew, but I didn't like really know what they look like, what they sound like, what their attributes were. And so it's just kind of a process of knowing like what to look for. It's pattern recognition, basically. So that's probably been the toughest part. Another aspect of it when you're hiring is, of course, the person, but also the environment they come into. So if you don't have systems built out, this was kind of like one of the problems for the very first closer I brought on, is the systems I built out for the sales process, all the documents, and like, hey, here's winning call recordings and everything, was not as good as it is today. And so the environment they came into was not as good, which means they're less likely to be successful. So those are the 2 main components with like team and like hiring is obviously the person you bring in, make sure they're good, but also the environment they come into has to be good for them to succeed.
Yeah, I hear a lot of creators sort of poo-poo on the hiring process, or I went with I hired a couple of editors, and went through 3. It just wasn't really my thing, and I always hear that, and I hear an opportunity for ownership there, as though like I think a lot of the way that I've heard people talk about it is like, yeah, like that's just not for me, or like you can't just can't hire good editors, or like no one can edit my stuff the way that I edit my stuff, just for example. And what I'm hearing from your answer is like it's really on you and the environment that you create once this person potentially comes into your organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's my fault. Like, and it's your fault if you hire the wrong person as well. Like, some people just aren't going to be good regardless of the environment. That can be a reality, but you also hired them, so that's my problem. Yeah, it's when you say things like, no one can do it as good as me, or like a lot of that kind of talk. Like a lot of times it comes from giving up on your end goals, because like another one of the quotes I love is that like your goals will not adapt to your character must adapt to your goals. So meaning like, hey, if you want 100K a month, or you want 10K a month, for example, the universe will not magically change and adapt how businesses work, how businesses make money for your personality, for your skill sets, your actions to magically result in 10K a month. The only thing you can change is the actions you take, your character, your skill sets, so that you can achieve the goal. Goal is never going to change for you. You must change. And so right now, like, let's say for me, the thing I'm working on that I have to scale up is management, training, hiring. That's not going to change. I could avoid it. I could just stay where I am and like make excuses and stuff, but that will never change unless I change my character, change my skill sets. So that's how I like to see it.
What have you sacrificed to get to where you are today, and what have you been unwilling to sacrifice?
That's a good question. What have I sacrificed? I mean, like, I guess like some time, sacrifice some time to like build these businesses and stuff. I mean, for me, like, again, the business has become something I'm very passionate and obsessed with. So it's hard to see it as a sacrifice. I mean, I've had it on easy mode because, you know, maybe someone could say I've sacrificed, some social life or things like that. But also, like, naturally, I'm more of an introvert. So I
Mm.
don't like to do too much social life or it burns me out. And so, like, maybe I'm just like, I have it on easy mode again. Like, I'm passionate about this thing. So I like working out a lot. I don't like to hang out with people too much or else I get burned out doing that. So a lot of things that kind of lined up. So I'm not sacrificing too much.
Mm.
Um, but one thing also I'm not willing to sacrifice is, like my family, for example. So I won't like I will always make time for, my wife and future baby, our family, parents, siblings, things like that. I'm always gonna make time for them. So go on trips with them and stuff. I'm gonna work the business around that because that's like one of my top values in life. So I'm not gonna be willing to sacrifice that. So that's like how I try to design the business as well. So I have that freedom and flexibility.
I love that. What are some specific, if you're willing to share, what are some specific boundaries you set around work or the business to make sure that you are prioritizing your family?
So I mean, I'll just make sure like I won't say no. So like if let's say like we want to schedule like a trip, like we went to a cabin in March, I think, in like Asheville or something, and like we invited some of our family and stuff, and so like we just want to go a trip, so end up being on these dates, and so I just didn't work. Like I'm like, all right, that we're spending time with the family, so it's just like I'm not gonna say no to that. Um, yeah, that's really just the answer. Is when the opportunity comes, I'm just gonna say no to the business and really just focus on family.
It sounds incredibly simple. Like you are very, very clear on what you're doing, what you don't want to do, how to spend your time.
I try to be. I mean, I try my best. It's yeah, still like I'm still human, still get frustrated at times or stressed out. But yeah, I try and just be clear on, hey, what do I value? Let me try and design my life according to that.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's awesome. It's awesome to see. And obviously, you've helped me in a pretty significant way over the last year. And as we come to the tail end of this conversation, I would be curious to know, you probably said it a couple times at some point in this conversation, but if you could go back to the Jack who is in his first year of business, trying to build, trying to pay his bills, what piece of advice would you give him if you could only give him one?
One piece of advice. All right. All right. One piece of advice. I mean, I would say like at a fundamental level, it's just persistence. Um, that's the biggest thing because you will fail over and over and over and over and over again. It will not be fun at times. It'll be stressful. It'll be painful. But if you're serious about the end goal, like whatever your end goal is, dollar amount, maybe it's a certain lifestyle or freedom that you want, just keep on persisting to get there. For most people, it really doesn't take that long. 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. All right, some people might hear that and they will freak out, but like put it in perspective. A lot of people go to college for 4 years or 8 years for a certain profession, and that's very normal. It's very normalized. Why is your own business? Why is that a different timeline?
Hmm.
And just be willing to commit for the long game. It's only a few years of actual hard work, focus, effort, and you can actually create the life that you want. So persist through it. It's gonna be painful, but just keep on persisting and get to the end goal.
You know, I gotta say, I've never once thought about that, about the allotted time that we give ourselves and that society or our family gives us for those education paths, like almost a minimum of
Yeah.
4 years. Yet you out pursuing your own thing, working at it consistently. It's like if this, well, it's been a year. I don't know, Jack. This
Yeah.
sounds like a hobby. Like why aren't you why aren't you a master or an expert at this yet? It just sounds so simple. I've never thought about that in all my years.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because like you'd think like business should be harder actually on the surface level because like for like colleges and professions, you go and you focus on one thing within a business. You go be an accountant, you go be a marketer, you go do one specific role. But in a business, you gotta like learn everything. So it's kind of harder. And people expect you to do it in less time. So it's like it's just a mismatch in expectations.
It's harder. They expect it to be done in less time, and you're doing it on your own.
Yeah.
It's all like a self education or like a school of hard knocks. Yeah. That's great. Jack Bly, you're the man. Dude, where can people go to check out more of what you got going on?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on here, man. You're a legend. But yeah, check me out really on any social media, Twitter, X, YouTube. Just search my name, Jack Bly. It's BLY is how you spell my last name. Probably YouTube or Twitter is gonna be the best places to check me out on social media. If you want to connect, just shoot me a DM. And yeah,
Great. I will link to all of those below, and I appreciate this conversation today. Thanks, Jack.
appreciate you, man.